Played for the New York Giants, drafted by the New York Giants. Danny Kanell is now joining us, brought to you by Mercedes-Benz, the best or nothing. So, let's just talk about the Saquon Barkley thing. You played in the NFL for a long time. My argument is some guys Adrian Peterson could never catch and didn't like to block. It's natural for Zeke. He just likes to do it. Marshawn Lynch. Some guys will put the helmet in the chest. Is the criticism by Tiki at least reasonable in your opinion?
Absolutely. And I was listening to you and Joy talk about it. You talk about somebody who can trust with their opinion, somebody who, watches a ton of New York Giants football and has watched it closely and has been in that spot. He absolutely recognizes it. And I do think I agree with Tiki. I think that Saquon Barkley has to not be timid when you have to go square to square with a blitzing linebacker or a defense. Sometimes you slide protections. You're on the other side. You got to take a defensive end. And it doesn't always have to be you have to be the bigger, stronger guy. You just have to slow them down. Like it's not like you asking them to hold them out for 3 seconds. You've got to get better there. And that is clearly a weakness that has cropped up in Saquon Barkley, who's by all accounts an exceptional. But we always talk about quarterbacks from the perception of, hey, defensive coordinators are going to adjust to what you do. Can Lamar Jackson keep running around? Well, defensive coordinators are going to adjust. They're adjusting to Saquon Barkley, and they're recognizing this, and they're exploiting that, which becomes a much bigger problem when he's on the field and you try to implement pass schemes where he's going to be asked to pass protect.
All right, Cleveland-Cincinnati tonight's actually fascinating for a lot of reasons. Let's start with Joe Burrow. You've helped coach. You watch young quarterbacks. Your grade for Joe Burrow week 1, what did you like? What did you not like?
Solid. I thought it was a solid B-, especially if you consider first start, first NFL experience, no offseason, no preseason, Zoom meetings, trying to learn an entire offense like that. And Colin, for me, with a lot of times what I like to do early in a quarterback's career is watch it from the TV copy. What he looks like. Let me look at his eyes. When you watch the coaches tape and the All-22, you can't really get a sense for if a quarterback is jittery or is he nervous. But you watch the game copy, you can see what a quarterback is feeling. And I felt like Joe Burrow looked like he did at LSU. Completely cool. Joe Cool, right? I thought he looked calm, composed, knew where to go with the football. I thought he showcased some of the skill set that he showed off when he was in Baton Rouge. Extremely accurate with the football. Made good decisions. You saw some of his athleticism with the rushing he had. So overall, I thought it was a solid start for Joe Burrow. And I think this is only the beginning. I mean, I was bullish on him coming out, had no problem with the number 1 overall pick. So I think it was exactly what you wanted to see if you're a Bengals fan. The only thing that came up short was the win. And, we saw the way that game ended, didn't get to overtime, didn't have that opportunity, but he had his team in a position to win a game, which is something they haven't had in recent years in Cincinnati.
Now, nobody thinks Baker Mayfield, if he plays poorly tonight, is going to lose his job to Case Keenum. But I will say this. There's an old saying in our business, radio and television. Your bosses and your networks have moved off you about a year before they tell you. Okay? And my thing is, if Burrow looks with less talent around him, if Burrow looks better than Baker tonight, more under control, more calm, even if he loses, but you come away and go, God, Burrow in game 2 really looks like the guy. And Baker may win because he's got far more talent, but it's a Baker game. He unravels a little. Do you think it is possible that the new GM and the new coach come to a realization, this wasn't our guy, and in our division, he's the 4th best guy, and we got to start thinking about the future?
So, Colin, I wonder if his coach and GM already wonder if he's their guy. Like, I think there's already a crisis of confidence in Baker Mayfield as their quarterback, and they want to see him prove it. And it did not get off to a great start. We all recognize 7 straight games he's throwing an interception. And this is a game on the national stage where impressions are made. I mean, look at Kirk Cousins, the reputation he has in trying to shake that, games in prime time, games against winning opponents. Well, this is a game that you probably should win if you're Baker Mayfield. Ultimately, does it impact him long-term? No, it's not like the decision has to be made. It's only week 2. But I think from public perception, criticism, something he has not handled well, I do think he needs to go out there with a solid performance. Now, the Browns, I'd like to see them actually run Kareem Hunt, Nick Chubb more, take some of that pressure off. Against the Ravens, they were down 24-6 at halftime, so they kind of had to air it out. That's a tough spot to be in. I think we do have to give Baker Mayfield a pass as he's learning yet another offense in a shortened, condensed offseason. But ultimately, yeah, I do think he has to at least look the part. Like kind of like I was talking about Joe Burrow. What do you look like? Do you look comfortable? Do you look confident? I want to see that because I don't see on the field when it matters. I don't see that Baker Mayfield has that confidence, that swagger that we loved about him at Oklahoma, loved about him in his rookie year. I haven't seen that in a while. So I want to see him get back to that. And the accurate passer. I mentioned Joe Burrow being accurate. Baker Mayfield has lost that accuracy that he had when the protection breaks down. So I think it is a big game for him on a national stage that, yes, will create a perception of him, whether you like it or not, that will matter moving forward.
So Bruce Arians calls out Brady. How'd it land for you?
Maybe to make him feel right at home, right? That's what he's been used to for 20 years with Bill Belichick, calling him a high school quarterback at practice. Those are the accounts you've heard. I'm sure, it's a tough spot, but Bruce Arians, I think the one message that he sent, it wasn't just Tom Brady he called out, he called everybody. I think it was more of a wake-up call to the entire team. Brady will be fine. He can handle it. He's used to it, as I mentioned with Belichick. Some of those other players at this organization, they haven't been on many winning teams. They haven't made the playoffs. They haven't been good. They need to be taught how to accept criticism and then more importantly, how to respond to the criticism. And this team has been told all offseason, hey, you guys are going to be great. This is a playoff team. You guys are golden. Let's go. You got Tom Brady, greatest of all time. And as we've seen, with the offensive line play, if they don't step up, if some of the guys, there's a little bit of, continuity issues on routes, which caused one of the interceptions, you got to step up your game as well. So I think it was more of a call, not only to Tom Brady, but it was a message of, yeah, we got Tom Brady. He doesn't have anybody. I'm going to criticize him too, but I'm calling out everybody. Everybody has to pick up their level of play. So I didn't have any issue with it whatsoever. And I would guarantee there's a little bit of tough love publicly. Behind closed doors, we're game planning for this week's game. You're going to come back and say, hey, man, we saw it. We see the glimpses. We know we have to fix. We love you. And I think that was very much a public play for Bruce Arians, which I don't think Tom Brady or anyone else should have a hard time with.
Finally, how surprised were you and how long-lasting can Cam Newton and that limited offense be? Can they win with special teams, defense, running? I mean, it doesn't look like 2020 NFL, but you're sitting to yourself, Miami was supposed to be better than that, and Miami wasn't competitive in that game, and they're going to Seattle, and the line is 3.5, 4, so that tells you the people who do this for a living are like, can the Cam thing last, not throwing the football?
This is the least surprising thing to me of this early NFL season, Colin. You saw Cam Newton. That's what I was expecting them to do. He's not going to be somebody who airs it out from the pocket. You throw it 45, 50 games. You don't run him at all. You try to protect him. That's just not who Cam Newton is. This looks like the Cam Newton that won the MVP, that took the Carolina Panthers to the Super Bowl. So this was the least shocking thing to me. The only question that matters is, can he survive? And I think the Patriots said, take that risk. Basically what they've done, Colin, you'll know this well. They've treated him like a rental car. And you know this from traveling all over to your summer homes, all over the globe. When you go there, you rent a car, you treat it like garbage, right? You're just going to run it into the ground. You're going to use it, and then you're going to give it back because it's not yours. This is a one-year deal. They might say something, but they're not worried about Cam Newton's long-term health. They are going to drive him into the ground, utilize what he does best, and that's run the football. The only thing at the adjustment, because I think their plan is clearly slow the game down, time of possession, extend drives, play to Cam Newton's strengths, let our defense win an ugly game, special teams, as you mentioned. I do think there's a chance that now Josh McDaniels has shown that, kind of the obvious. We can run Cam Newton with the football. Now defenses have to prepare for it. Now watch for the adjustment. So maybe he doesn't carry it 15 times for 75 yards a game. He's still going to be an integral part of their run game. But let's see if they can develop some of the concept. Hey, Lamar Jackson throw 36 touchdowns last season. Let's see if that really opens up things in the passing game where you get guys wide open running down the field for touchdown passes. That will play right into Cam Newton's strength. And then we just have to watch it. I'm sure the Patriots watch it, and they're saying, I hope he doesn't get hurt. And no one wants to see that. And he's bulked up. He said he can handle it. So let's see if he can do it.
Danny Kanell, great seeing you, buddy. Talk again. Thanks for